everyone. Today for my video, I wanted to show you how we feed a bottle calf. So a few days ago, we had a mama cow that we knew was about to give birth, and our original plan was that we were going to pull the calf off right away because she doesn't have the best udder. Last year she only had about a half of an udder, and that just makes it harder for the calf to sustain on the mom as long as it needs to. So we were originally planning on, once she gave birth, to take the baby away and just bottle feed it. We have several people reach out to us if they're looking for projects for their kids, or they might need a bottle calf to graft on one of their moms that might have lost a baby or something. So we kind of had that idea in mind, and then she happened to have twins. So since she had two, we had to find a place for two of them. And one of the babies wasn't doing the best. And so my husband brought it into my goat barn. So if you listened to my last video, you might have heard a calf bellowing. So that is this little guy that you'll see in a little bit. And he really wasn't doing well at first. And so we got colostrum in him. He only drank about a half of a bottle at first. And then that evening he drank the rest of it. And since then he's really gone uphill. When we first brought him into the barn, he was really shaky and didn't really want to stand, and he was just super weak. And it's just amazing, once you get that colostrum in them, how much better they can do. So since then, we've bought some milk replacer, and we've fed him with milk replacer for a day now. So he's getting pretty aggressive, and he's learning how to drink, and he knows what it means when we bring that bottle into the barn. So I'm gonna just show you kind of the process that we take to feed bottle calves, and this looks a lot different on bigger scales. Of course, we just have one, so I'm gonna just show you how we mix up a bottle and how we feed them. So here's an example of the bottles that we feed bottle calves with. You can kind of see how big it is based off my hand there. These hold about 4 pints, and so when we mix our milk, we need to make sure that we know how much our bottle holds in order to make sure that our ration is correct with our dry milk versus water, to ensure that our calf is getting all the nutrients that they need. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the cap off my lid here. And what we typically do is we just put a little bit, we get our water pretty warm, put it just a little bit in there to get started. And then we'll go ahead and fill it with a cup of milk replacer. Okay, so we have our bag of calf milk replacer. You can find this pretty much at any feed store. We get ours at Baumgart's. So you can see it's just kind of like a normal sized cup here, and we fill the whole cup with milk replacer, and we'll put all this powder in the bottle for the baby. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I don't think I can hold my phone and do that at the same time. But when I pour it into the bottle, I usually put the bottle right in the bag. That way I make sure that I don't waste any of the milk. Powdered milk is pretty expensive, and so we don't want to waste any of it. So you can see it filled up about 1/4 of the bottle with the powdered milk there. And then we'll go ahead and get our warm water going. The more warm it is, the more they like it. And then we can just go ahead and fill the bottle here until it's just about full. We want to leave a little space at the top to make sure that we still have room to shake it up. Okay, so we got our bottle full here. You can kind of see the milk there on the top. There's screw types of nipples that we can put on. This is just the type that we have, so basically this nipple will just go over the lip here and seal the bottle that way. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Slipped the nipple right over the lip there, and it's pretty solid. As you can see, it's not gonna fall off. And the next step in this process is to make sure that we shake up the bottle really well. So a lot of time, since we put most of the milk powder right in there in the bottle, it can get stuck on the bottom. So we want to make sure that we shake it up really good to make sure that the bottle has all of the milk mixed, and that the calf is going to get all of the nutrients and food that it needs. So And then the next step, we just want to make sure that we shake it really good. The biggest way to tell, if you tip it over, you can see there's no milk stuck to the bottom, and that's just really important to make sure that all the milk gets mixed up. Also, when you're shaking, you want to make sure that you keep your finger over this hole. So this hole here is the slits where the milk comes out when the calf is sucking. So as he's sucking on this nipple, you can see how it opens, and that's what releases the milk. So you want to make sure that you keep your finger over that to ensure that the milk's not going to be going everywhere. My bottle of warm milk and my puppy, and we're ready to go out for the day. So as we walk over, we usually feed our bottle calves twice a day. So they'll get 2 of these bottles in a day, 1 in the morning and 1 at night. And some people, if they have a lot more bottle calves, they'll train them to start drinking out of buckets. So usually you can kind of take your finger, because it looks similar to a nipple, and get them to start drinking out of a bucket. And that's a lot less time consuming because you're not having to mix each individual bottle and clean each individual bottle when you're feeding calves. But since we just have 1, this works the best for us, and that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so like I said, this was my goat barn. If you watched the video yesterday, this is where we have all of our babies at and the mamas. So here we have our little calf. So he knows it's time to eat. He's getting up, which is a great sign for us. A few days ago, he could barely stand up. He was really wobbly. So let's see, he's just looking for the nipple here. And we got our little helper, Ralphie. And you can see, he knows what to do now. At first, we kind of had to show him what to do. But now he knows this is milk, and this is his favorite time of the day now. So he'll just be sucking. Every now and again, he'll let go like that, which helps release some of the air in the bottle. If you don't let him release some of that air, the bottle will start to suck in, which might happen. So once he gets a little bit bigger, he'll start to get a lot more aggressive. He'll start butting at the bottle and just really being aggressive towards that nipple and trying to find where his milk comes from. You can tell he's a pretty little calf. It's hard to tell when they're not around others, but for us, he's really small. That makes sense though, because he was a twin. And right now, this is all he eats. So he doesn't really eat any hay or grain or anything or drink water. This is his main source of food, is just this milk here. So you can see he released there, and you might have heard the bottle kind of fill back up, so the air was released there. It looks like he's drank about half of it already. So once he really gets going good, I'm guessing it'll only take about 2 minutes to drink this whole bottle. Right now it's been about 2 minutes and he's drank about half the bottle. And evidently Ralphie likes the extra milk that he's dropping. Yesterday, since he was doing so good and he was so healthy, we went ahead and gave him a shot of calf fortifier. It's basically just a little bit of antibiotics just to ensure that he's going to stay healthy. We give it to all of our calves as soon as they're born and they've sucked, just kind of like the paste that I gave the goat yesterday, which I'll talk more about later. We also gave this calf that same paste. You can use it on both calves and goats, and it's called Optimizer, and it just helps against scours. So with these little calves and goats, scours is often a problem, and we found that Optimizer product really helps us ensure that we aren't getting scours. And basically, when an animal gets scours, they have a really poopy butt, and they just don't feel very good, and they can go downhill quick. So that's kind of our insurance for both our calves and our goats. We can order it by the tube, and we just give it right away, and then we haven't had any problems, knock on wood, yet with any of our calves or our goats yet this year. So that's been a really great product for us. All right, so you can see he's about down to a 4, so he's about got it all down. All right, so we're almost done. He's just got a tiny bit left to suck. a little fun fact, when I was younger, we were always in 4-H and Clover Kids, and so we always had bottle calves, and my dad would let me just go into our feedlot and pick out any calf that I wanted. And so ever since I was little, I've always had a bottle calf around. When I got to high school age, my dad made sure that we were really busy with chores. So every morning and night we'd have to go out, and we'd have about 10 or 20 in the barn to feed. So that was always fun, and it's always a cute project. So, all right, so he's done now. You can see he wants some more. But he'll be done for the morning, so here in a little bit we'll probably come back in and he'll be laying down and taking a nap because his belly's full. He ate the whole thing, so those are all good signs. He's looking healthy. He's looking for milk. Everything that we want to see is kind of going on right now. So now that we're done feeding him, the most important step is to get this bottle clean. So you can see he's got slobber on there. There might be a little bit extra milk left in here, so we want to make sure that we get this bottle cleaned and sanitized. If we don't get it really clean, we could have some leftover milk in there that could turn moldy, which if that got into his system could hinder it. Also, when you're feeding more than one bottle calf, it's really important to get the nipples really clean because one calf could have sickness that could transfer to another one. So for us, it's not that big of a deal because right now we just have one. But if we had more than one, we'd really want to make sure that we focus on getting our nipples clean and the regular sanitation of the bottles. So I'm done with all the rest of my chores here this morning. I got all my goats fed and taken care of, and so I went back to the barn and got the bottle so I can take it to the house to wash out good. What I forgot to mention earlier is bottle calves are typically fed between 6 and 8 weeks. Somewhere in the next couple weeks we'll start putting calf creep in there. And creep feed, we also feed that to the goats, and it's basically just a smaller pellet with high protein that helps get the animals transition to what their normal ration of feed will be. So if we can start putting that in there and the calf can start getting curious and maybe start nibbling on that a little bit, eventually we'll be able to wean him off milk and lower his milk ration, or maybe put less powder in there and a little bit more water to start weaning him, and that way he'll be hungry for those pellets. So those pellets are just a great way to get them transitioned to what their normal ration will be of feed and hay, and then they'll slowly start drinking more water at that time too. It just depends on the calf and how healthy they're doing, or how healthy they are and well they're doing. But typically by 8 weeks you can have them weaned. And then weaning them just means that they're completely off milk and they're onto their normal feed ration. So I'm gonna go inside and show you how I clean the bottle, and that will be it. We have the sponge that's just for cleaning our calf bottles out. And it's going to be too hard to hold my phone and video this, but obviously I'm just going to use our normal dish soap and really scrub down the nipple and inside of the bottle. I'll see if I can open it here. So you can see there's some excess milk in there that we'll want to make sure that we get cleaned out. They also make some special brushes if you are feeding a bunch of bottle calves and we're cleaning a lot of bottles every day, that make it a lot easier to get them, make sure they're really clean. So I'm gonna go ahead and wash it, and we always make sure to use really warm water, just like when you're washing your dishes that you would eat on at home. The nipple all clean in the inside, and I have the bottle clean and upside down drying, and that way it'll be ready for later today when I go ahead and feed the calf again. That's how you feed a bottle calf. If there's anything I missed or anything else you'd like to know, please let me know and I'll do my best to answer it. And I hope you guys all have a great day.